Hey, this is In the Loop, episode 3. No, episode 2. This is our third recording, second episode.
Yeah.
Because we
First one went.
the first one we watched a video and they decided, rightfully decided to mute us, which is fine. And we're not going to make that mistake again today.
We got hit with the copyright.
Really?
Copyright
For what?
strike.
We watched a YouTube video.
Yeah, we watched this Dark Souls video. It was
The Prole.
it's called the Prole is the guy who made it, and it's called In the We Are the Souls, and it plays this song. I can't remember the lady's name, but she won't respond to any like copyright requests or like requests to license the song for the video, and so he couldn't get it licensed, which is really unfortunate. The video is really awesome, but we're not going to watch it for you on stream
Because we can't. We did it once. We made the mistake one time. I can't do it again.
All right. So there's our intro again. This is Kip. Hope you guys are doing well. Go ahead.
I am Luke. Crisis Luke, as
Luke.
I call myself
Yeah.
now. As I've been dubbed.
Yep. And we are a gaming podcast, just about
stream.
/stream, and we talk about just how to use video games as a way to improve your life, your career, do things other than just be entertained by your game, by the games that you play, right? That's us now. And how's your week? Get anything done?
Yes and no. Jeez, this is always like a hard question. I know that it's coming because it's like right there. First question is, how was the week? And I'm always like, as soon as you ask, I'm like, I don't know how to answer this anymore. It's going good. Like I said, I got leave from work, so that's cool. So I'm basically taking like a month off, and it means I can focus more on this work rather than my corporate job, which is fun. And what else have I been doing? I guess I'm going to go see a concert tomorrow, which is pretty sweet. So I'm excited for that. And then the rest of the week, I've just been doing housework and trying to be productive otherwise. So it's been a pretty good week.
Yeah.
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I just played video games on Sunday. So last week, right, Saturday, Sunday, played some more video games. I actually went ahead and did some training in Dead Cells, just like I said I would, which was good. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But
Any clips for that or no?
Yeah, I do have a clip. that I can play for it. But I realized that if you're watching or you're listening podcast, you're going to have to follow the link that's in
The description.
in the description for it. So we'll have a quick link there, but we can give it a watch. It was good.
Cool.
Or at least I had fun. You can have fun watching, or you can have fun not watching, whichever is
Or
fine.
just listening to us, have fun watching it.
But yeah, we'll probably chip that, right? Yeah,
For sure.
You don't have to worry about it.
How was your week, Stop?
Good. So yesterday, I actually finally got around to getting Smash Online, get the Nintendo Online.
Nice.
And my first experience with the online was I wasn't expecting it. Like there was like way more items and way more less competitive modes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I wasn't very proud of myself getting cheesed every turn. With like these like
Gotta get
very
good,
very
dude.
short.
Just gotta get good.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. It's because you never know what you're going into in those battles, so you just gotta go with it, go with the flow.
It was actually a good experience because like I'm just like too used to having like a very like strict set of rule sets, but this allows me to focus adapting more, which is part of the game.
That's how you gave me the handshake earlier instead of the knuckles.
Exactly, yeah.
You've been adapting. It's that Smash Bros. Online, dude. Damn, I haven't played Smash in forever.
Yeah, you got the whole month. Is something you can choose to do, I suppose.
True. I do have a whole month to do whatever I want.
All right, so we got some housekeeping notes here. What do you want to talk about here? As far as let's start with schedule changes. So we are going to start doing this show an hour later. So we started late today without announcing it, but luckily there's nobody watching right now, so it's okay. We'll survive. But just about putting content out, and we're just going to push it out just a little bit out, one more hour out, so starting at 3 p.m. Central instead of 2 p.m. Central. This give ourselves a little bit more time to get coordinated.
Specifically gives me more time to drive over here.
It's a long drive. You don't have to drive over, but you're welcome.
It's more fun.
We can have multiple cameras going.
It's too much work.
Yeah.
It's too much. We're struggling with more than one microphone, dude.
A 45-hour drive is better. A 45-minute drive.
45 hours.
That would be like, hey, this is the whole 12 a.m., 12
Yeah,
p.m.
it's
midnight
like
thing.
coast to coast, more than coast to coast drive.
Yeah.
No, there's no way coast to coast is.
It's coast to coast is probably more like
It's like
20 or between 20 to 30 hours.
There's
I
no
imagine.
way. It's got to be way more than that.
I think it depends on where
The
you're.
entire United States.
Oh wait, I take that back. Austin to Santa Fe alone was like 17 hours.
Yeah,
so.
dude.
I think
maybe
it depends on which
I
coast
would
you're
still
doing,
say
though.
40 hours is like reasonable coast to coast, given
Mm.
if there's like one interstate highway you can take.
Okay, look, if you're going from like the Gulf Coast to the Pacific Ocean, right? That's not nearly as long, and you're technically going coast to coast,
Okay, sure.
right? So, okay. We digress. All right.
Sure.
So, as far as other things that we're going to be doing, I'm still in the progress of writing my Dead Cells article on the Path to Progress, aka the Path to Pro, which we'll also be using. We'll also be using for Jordan's progress or Watch ATV's progress in Counter Strike, and he is doing fantastic, by the way.
Oh, nice.
If you guys ever want to check him out, he is he streams his matches through External Gaming, and then WatchA_TV, WOTJ_TV on Twitch. Fantastic player, awesome to watch. Definitely get out there. He's my brother, so you can just take my accolades with a grain of salt. But
I mean, I think it's actually, if I was talking about my brother, I probably wouldn't give him so much praise, So maybe that's
you're right.
part.
I'm also the oldest brother, right? So, or the older brother. So, for me to give him praise should signify to anyone who has siblings that like when older brother says younger brother is good.
Yeah, he means it.
He means it.
He really
yeah.
does.
He's-
Yeah, exactly. There's someone in here that I can't
Yeah.
read their name worth
Oh
of
yeah.
shit.
So I could. It took me a long time.
Zabazel Yanaya.
Jabba Zelonia. So
Oh,
Naya,
Jabba Zalonia.
It means
Okay.
it means green frog, green toad. I
Yeah.
can't remember. It's one of the other. I said that I would remember.
In
I can't
what
remember.
language?
It's Russian, I think.
Jabba Zalonia.
Anyway, he's
That's a hell of a name.
he is my most he's my most like qualified viewer. He's only watching me while I'm not popular, and then he's agreed to stop watching once I
Okay.
become popular.
All right, cool.
And so
Got a long way to go then.
yeah, and
Sticking around.
but he also wants me to eat Russian food, and he made some recommendations, and I'm really excited to like actually go out there and get some.
Yeah, I've never had
Is it-
Russian food before.
You have had Russian food before, you just didn't realize it. The
Okay.
more likely
That's cool.
likely thing. But anyway, super excited. Someday I'm going to do that, and then he usually leaves about like 5-10 minutes. It's like 1 a.m. his time. So he comes on, he checks us out, and then he just drops off.
Well, hello. We are
And then
talking
goodbye,
about
yeah.
game stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of things. That's the short
Let's actually make sure that let's pull this over here, and then pull this over here, so that way we can see.
You're clicking a lot of buttons.
I'm a clicker. I'm a clicker, for sure. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I'm working on writing my article for Dead Cells. I'm actually still, just like last time, really excited to write it because I've made my own progress, and Thor dies in Fortnite too. I've made my own progress, and I'm just excited to write about what I did in order to make sure that I made progress, right? So I hit that. We talked about this last week, where you hit a plateau and you get stuck, and then realizing that you're stuck, and then taking the steps to get past that point, right? And what did I? And now I've done something, and that's exactly what I was going to write about other things that I've done before, which would be more either table tennis related or games that are much further in my past,
Right,
maybe
yeah.
like World of Warcraft reading or something, and getting past it. But now I have a good story that I have clips for, that you could actually just watch a video of me succeed.
Yeah.
Like you can watch me fail, and then you can watch me succeed. And
Fail a lot, succeed once.
exactly.
But that's the name
that's
of the game.
That's exactly how it works. What about you? Anything that you're writing or doing?
Yeah, so I want to write this, and we're talking about this towards the end too. Is the Dark Souls article about how I started my career, and I just feel like I need to write more than one article about that game, because I was thinking, I was like kind of in this meditative state. Probably, gosh, I should know what day it was now, but I'm so lost on what day it is currently. close to a week ago, where I was just like thinking in my head, can I basically play the entirety of Dark Souls in my head? The answer is like yes. Like I can basically like know what the game looks like when it starts and go through every single zone, every single boss, and like beat the game like from start to finish completely in my head. Like, which is probably a little crazy. Probably means I played the game too much, but
I wouldn't say that. No.
I think it just goes to.
I mean, there has been definitely like other crazy people who've done crazy stuff with Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
there was a guy like who blindfolded himself.
Oh yeah.
And just from the audio cues beat like the entire game or something.
Yeah, no, I've seen.
Or
stuff
like a
that.
boss fight or something.
Someone just did a level 1 hit list for the whole trilogy.
Oh wow, okay.
They released it like 2 weeks ago.
Damn,
That's
dude.
so.
Yeah.
You're on
Yeah.
the bottom with the crazies.
No, apparently.
There's a lot of crazies out there for Dark
Yeah,
Souls.
I'm the 1%, but then there's 0.1%, you know, and
Right.
they're just like so astronomically, but no, not the 1%. But yeah, just there's so much going on there that, and like just besides me knowing the game that I feel like I could write about. So I think that's what that's what I should be doing. First, writing this one about how it started my career, and then diving deeper into like the skills I actually learned from it, which you can learn, like the whole message and so much like philosophy and theory behind it that you can just dive into. So that's what I'm going to be doing for sure.
Okay, cool. So next on the list is going to be the Steam Challenge. So if anyone is listening in the future and it is not yet December 8th, we are doing a quick giveaway for the Steam Challenge, and all you have to do is sign into Discord, tell us what game that you're playing, and then beat that game. Right? So the Steam Challenge, for those of you that don't know, essentially you find a game in your Steam library that you played but didn't finish for whatever reason, whether it's too difficult, you had life come up, or like you couldn't get back into the story. Tell yourself that you're gonna finish that game, be deliberate about it, and then go and finish it. And as long as you can post an achievement or somehow prove to me that you've completed it, and you have a Discord message that says that you started, I'll put you into a drawing to win a free video game, anything that you want, and it'll happen just before Christmas. So if you wanted to get a present for your friend, you can actually get that as well. Also, if you refer a friend, I'd be happy to buy them a game as well. Although they do need to also be participating in the challenge. And as far as where I am, so my personal challenge is to go through Dead Cells, and I would like to beat the hardest mode, which is going to be BC5 or Boss Cells 5. And I've heard through friends that you actually get to fight. There's a special boss at the end that you get to fight,
Oh, interesting.
which I'm not going to spoil for anyone, just in case. But I tend to try and beat that boss now. So before I was just trying to beat Boss Cells 5, but now I'm going to try and beat that boss because apparently that would be
that's
the
super
next
cool.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the very end.
And as far as how far have I gotten and stuff, honestly, like I didn't think I was going to be able to really complete it because I was stuck on Boss Cells 1 for such a long time. But since last week and I made so much progress, it actually seems really doable. I guess part of that is because I only play on stream, and that's only going to be Monday and Tuesday, and so it gives me a lot of downtime where I'm not practicing and not playing. So it didn't seem possible, but now actually definitely does. So
you went through Boss Cells 1? Are you like on Boss Cells 3? Or like...
I'm on Boss Cells 3 now.
Damn,
yeah.
I just guessed that. Do you see that? It's that big brain at work.
Oh, you read them.
Yeah, dude, that's what happened. That was a
straight
hard
read.
read, dude. That was a hard read. And then, oh my gosh, this name is always going to kill me.
Dude, it's a Green Toad.
No, I got to say it the right way.
That's what I said too, but you're not going to say it right until do you even...
Barcelona.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. That was close.
Well, he can tell us, right? Or they can tell us. I don't know.
I tried. Are you guys retro game fans? Yes. Sorry, I'm just interrupting the show now to answer a question from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is good.
We should actually make it a point to
Have like a section for
well,
it.
we'll do Q&A with the audience at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll just have that question in our mind and then just leave it at the end of the thing. Cool. That's
Okay.
what we're doing with that.
Yeah,
so
that's
we're not
what
answering.
we're not going to answer. Well, we
All right.
answered, but we're not going to answer. We're not going to completely answer. No. Okay, so how far are you? Where are you
Yeah,
at? Have you actually picked a game to?
No, I haven't yet. So basically, my answer is how far have I gotten? Nowhere. But I still have time, right? I have a month and a half, basically.
You can start whenever you want, but if you want to get entered into the drawing, you got to start by December. Or you have to finish by December 8th.
Yeah. So I guess the hard part is figuring out what I want to do for it. Like Dead Cells is one that I've started and kind of fallen off and come back to and fallen off. So I like the idea of it. I don't know about going through all of like Boss Cells 5. That seems like a huge grind. And I also am like trying to find times where I can actually play video games and how to do it most effectively, because it kind of goes into our next topic as well. Is like how to, which I won't spoil, but how to do it most effectively and productively. And I have a couple ideas that I think we should discuss afterwards of how we can basically enhance our content and also have me be completing challenges and stuff. So anyway, have these ideas. I'll discuss them with you afterwards. But the answer is I've gotten nowhere, but I have ideas.
Sup, are you going to participate
in the Steam challenge?
You should.
As much as I want to, I don't think it'd be hard for me to commit. I'll just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of commit to getting to Smash Elite.
That's gonna be a rabbit hole in of itself, honestly.
Just Bowser Jr. It's easy.
Nobody knows what's going on.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I basically
games.
started a new account, so like I have like no characters. I only have like Bowser was one of my mains, but that's not really working out for me currently.
As soon as you get Bowser Jr., just win 4 online games. You're in Elite Smash. That's it. That's what I did. Never played him again.
One other thing about the Steam challenge, is that there's really no requirement that it be difficult or long or something that you don't feel is possible. It also doesn't need to have a time limit, right? So you can the drawing is just incentive for people to join and for people to encourage their friends to join, because it's a way to get free stuff, right? But as far as what the challenge is for its in and of itself is just a way to learn to be more disciplined with your time and your effort, right? To be deliberate about what you're going to do when you're in deciding to do those things, right? I want to beat this game, and Dead Cells, for instance, I want to beat it. It's something that I saw a guy yesterday playing Fallout 4, and I never beat Fallout 4. I got like probably 50-60% of the way in and kind of got sidetracked and then just kind of lost interest. But it's a game that now that I've heard reviews of it, I probably don't want to finish, but it's a game that I could, right? If I wanted to, like I could decide I'm going to finish this game, find out what the story is, and play it and experience for myself, because it's something that I want to experience, right? I could choose as another example to say, like, I want to watch The Joker, which I've heard several people like Songsup talk to me a bit about today. I've heard a couple of my neighbors talk about it, where it's such a great movie, it's fun, and I can choose to go watch that movie. I can say that's how I want to spend my time, right, and my money. And if that's what I want to do, then that's okay. And whatever it is that you choose to do is okay. And as long as you're choosing to do it and realizing that you're choosing, that's really the key. That's all that the challenge is. And so pick something, play or don't, but be mindful of it, mindful of what you're doing.
Faux show. That's the most important part.
Okay, so did we have ideas about a new challenge or something that coming up afterwards?
That's what. Yeah, I mean, I just had this written down as an open dialogue item because because there's like so many things we could do. So I want to talk to you about like what would be best, because I guess when it comes to my mind, when I hear like challenge is like difficult, just like that's just what happens in my head. And I've been thinking so much about like Dark Souls recently that I'm getting this itch to play it again, right? And maybe do something with it that like I've never done before. I think like just like the challenge for most people of just beating Dark Souls is a challenge, right? Yeah, but well, I kind of maybe it's more of a personal challenge than like a challenge we'll have for the community of like I want to do something even crazier again, because I've done like level 1 before, so I don't know yet. And that's just like the Dark Souls idea, but like maybe there's some other type of game that we can complete in a unique way, or some other kind of challenge that we can do that we should at least start preparing for. Have you thought of anything?
Yeah, so actually I was thinking earlier today that it would be one of the things that I want to talk about today, and we'll talk about a little bit later, is just about being disciplined and how games can kind of subvert your goals as far as wanting to be disciplined and how that kind of happens to you as you're playing. And one of the ideas that came out of that was that we could do a like a consistency challenge, or like a no 0 days challenge that we do as a community. And all we'll do is we'll take some game, and it can be some game that's difficult, right? Like, so we could take Dark Souls, or difficult and fun, and everyone will just play a little bit, and you just announce where you get to at the end of the day, and we'll mark a spot on the calendar that says that we did it. And the other piece to that is that I'd love to actually make a get good calendar for it, right? And what we'll do is it'll just be like pictures of me getting destroyed in Smash Brothers and Dead Cells. I don't know how the licensing goes or something like that, but yeah, I think it would be hilarious to just like have the month of January is just me getting killed by the hand, or like fighting I don't know, what's the first demon in Dark Souls?
Asylum Demon.
Asylum Demon. I was thinking Abyssal Demon. I was like, this is not right.
It's very close.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Anyway, the Asylum Demon, right? And just having him sit on you or something. That's the that's the dream, I guess.
And
I think that would be fun.
Have December be like you succeeding.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
December is me sitting on the Asylum Demon.
Yeah.
We made it.
There it is. That's
But
the idea.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Just some way for us to do, as a community, do something instead of doing it as individuals. Do it as a community, and maybe even make small teams of people that I'll try and do something, and then anybody else who's with me, and then as long as anybody does something, it's good.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too.
And those are the ideas for future challenges and things that we can do with the community, and I think that would be a little bit fun.
Yeah, and I was also thinking we should have our next challenge be, this is just another thought, like pretty short and easy, because it's gonna probably, we're gonna want to start it shortly after the other one ends, which is December, and people have Christmas and holidays. So how can you make it like easy, fun stuff?
You could make it the New Year's resolution, right? The New Year's challenge.
Yeah.
Something that you can will be easy and fun, and you can actually complete. So that way, instead of being the resolution no one keeps, it'll be the resolution everyone keeps because it's trivial.
Yeah, and you can just like that's a good one. I like a resolution one. Like what's your 2020 goal? It can be something super small, and it can be different for everyone. So rather than the Steam Challenge and being like almost the same for everyone, like it has the same guidelines of pick a game and finish it. It could literally just be like open. You just have to write what your resolution is.
Man, what we should do is we should call it the hindsight challenge, because because nobody has
2020 vision.
Project 2020.
I'm just saying, like, it's too easy, right? But we gotta say it now, so that way people know that it's ours.
This was said in 2019.
Yeah,
this is copyright now.
But we should make the challenge today, and then we do the hindsight challenge in 2020.
Oh, there you go.
Would also be a way to execute on that. But anyway, yeah, no, I think that we should absolutely come up with ideas, and if anybody out there has feedback or ideas on things that they would like to see, definitely just hit us up, and we'll be the platform to make sure that people find out about it. We're actually on a lot of platforms now, starting to push out content to. Really soon, we're going to be pushing. This will probably be on iTunes, YouTube, Twitch, and so we're in a lot of places. We have a blog going, crisisloop.com, and
we should make a Patreon.
Yeah, that would actually be that. We could instead of doing a blog, we could do that.
Well, okay, I guess it could
make
be
a
like
Patreon page by itself.
You could go back and forth to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's on the list. Definitely things that we can do. We can put it on the to-do list and do it, right? And I think this is a good time to segue into video games as kind of subverting your goals and being more of, what is the demon of video game, or that video games represent. Why are people so worried about them?
Yeah.
And why do people look at this? When I tell people about what I do with Crisis Loop and what I'm trying to do, there's an initial there's an initial aversion to it because there's a lot of negative press around video games.
Yeah.
Not only from people who have no idea what's going on, but from people who play video games and have in their life and in their time, they find that they've wasted their time playing video games because they play and they're playing too much, and it's
or not taking anything away.
right, not taking anything away. They don't feel like they're building anything or gaining anything. And this is actually, and they're not entirely wrong. If you go into playing video games and your only goal is to play, or rather you have no goals, right? Yeah. Then in those cases, yeah, you can absolutely be wasting your time and really doing nothing more productive than going to watch a movie or any other form of just
Mindless entertainment.
mindless entertainment. Yeah, I was thinking like banal entertainment or something.
Banal. That's probably a better word.
But
Banal.
I don't actually know how to say it.
I don't know either.
It's banal or banal, but
It's one of the two. We said them both now, so we're
In
not.
my opinion, like video games get this kind of bad reputation, not because like it deserves it, but rather like it's easy to scapegoat
Yep.
the gaming sector. Like for example, like there's plenty of other things that are just as addictive and like just as unproductive. For example, like plenty of people just come back from work, just watch some TV for a few hours and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's like their routine. Like how is that any different? In fact, like I would even say that's like a little worse than gaming because like gaming, at least like you get to play, and then as you play, depending on what game you're playing, but you can set milestones and you can like achieve those milestones, and that's why it's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
You feel like you're making progress towards something.
And you're interacting.
Yes,
It's not
exactly.
just yeah.
yeah, and that's absolutely true. And the way that games actually can take the opposite, and where they become the reverse, where that interaction can become a negative interaction because you actually develop an addiction. You develop a habit of achievement with no purpose. Video games like Candy Crush, where you have very, very little agency as a player. Like you make a mindless decision, like I'm going to match these three, with no real understanding of what's going to happen in the future. Maybe you have a small understanding, and yes, these games can be played in a way that you can calculate like what is your best move at any given time. But most people don't play like that. Most people play, they just matching, and whatever happens happens. And that kind of gambling habit forming play is very addictive. It's meant to be addictive and meant to have you spend money. But even games even competitive games where League of Legends, World of Warcraft can drive you into these loops where you're playing games and you're achieving things, and you are building skills, but you're building these skills to no particular end, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not actually practicing anything, and it becomes more addictive because of the achievement.
In fact, I would go as far to say that like people at some point, like if they keep playing the same game, they will get better over time, just like naturally, just playing the game. But then at one point, you will stop getting better unless you're self-aware of like what mistakes you're making and then like improving on those mistakes. But I feel that it's pretty common for people to not do that, and then they just keep playing the way they're used to playing, and sometimes they lose and sometimes they win. And the time that they do win, they feel rewarded. But on average, they're probably net win rate is probably not any better than like 50% or something
50-50.
like that.
50. Yeah.
So that part I think is like a very dangerous part about gaming, where you feel like you're doing something, but in the bigger picture, you're kind of at a
standstill.
a standstill.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'd like to segue into. Games are absolutely addictive, and they can be bad, and they can be agents of that same sort of mindlessness that you get from just going and watching television. But you can convert that, right? We can actually change that. We can change that that outcome by just changing our mindset and what we're doing. And so this is kind of a little bit about how can we go from video games being addictive and mindless fun to being something that we use to develop our discipline or develop in a more specific way, right?
I have a lot of thoughts. I'm gonna lay it on this subject real quick. So I used to be of the opinion that like gaming addiction didn't exist. It was like, well, what are those old people saying about about our video games? Like they don't know what they're talking about. But I guess behavioral addictions can exist in any form, and there's so much to unpack with this subject, right? And used to be of the mindset that like it didn't exist, and I would play very passively, but I would still like gain skills through it, but it was never active. So it was like, look at all this good that's happening to me, but it doesn't happen to everyone, and there are definitely the negative connotations of I've talked to some people about like World of Warcraft, and they're like, oh, I can never play that game. I'm like, why not? Oh, because if I do, then I'll never be able to stop, because and they know that about themselves because they don't have that discipline. And then just to go into like the actual gaming as an addiction as a topic, I think in the what are the big book of like disorders called? It's like the DMCA or something. See what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember what it's
they
called.
just like released one either this year or last year that lists gaming addiction as an addiction. And I remember listening to a bunch of podcasts around that time that were like in an uproar about it. That like now here it is as an official thing, and they're just using it to scapegoat, which a lot of people do use it to scapegoat. You see these terrible news articles, and it's like, oh, because he was playing Call of Duty. Oh, because he was playing Grand Theft Auto. And that was like the cause. But, correlation does not equal causation and all this other stuff. But beyond that, I also, too, was originally of the impression that, like, it's bullshit that it's listed as an addiction. And maybe that's in part because, like, in denial of the fact that I also play video games all the time to probably the level of addiction. And I mean, not probably, but I've had like 2-week binges before of like barely sleeping, barely eating, just like totally sickly. But what I have noticed recently, so like I guess for something to qualify as an addiction, you need to like have a pattern of doing it for 6 months. It needs to be unmanageable to the point where like you can't stop even if you tell yourself you can, and it needs to have negative life consequences. And those are like the 3 things.
Maybe even withdrawal effects.
Yeah, that as well. And I think that can definitely happen with gaming. And why I think it's good now that it's listed as like an official addiction and is in those books is because now insurance can cover it. and like that's the reality though, is that like that wasn't the case before, and like so all these like gaming figures are like up in arms about the fact that's like fuck, it's so shitty that it's now like an addiction, like they're coming after all of our shit. And it's like, yeah, but like think about the people who actually do need help that are like worse than us, that are worse than these personalities that literally are the people that can't leave their house. You hear the horror stories of people like playing Final Fantasy 11 and dying behind the keyboard on a raid boss because they're not getting up to go to the bathroom or eat food. And it's like that shit really happens. That's a huge problem. And before, you kind of were on your own. There was no resources to help you, or if you did, you had to kind of like disguise it under another mental problem. But now that it's like an official addiction, like insurance can cover it, it doesn't have to be an issue. So in that light, I think it's good that it's included as like an official. I think the more things that you can have like yes, this is a type of addiction included in those things is probably for the better. Like people are always going to have a negative connotation around it, especially the uneducated, masses. But for those people who it matters, now they have the ability through insurance to actually get help for it and change it, and I think that's another way to get help. And I think the other way, which ties into exactly what we're doing, is converting it into like active action. And I've been victim plenty of times to like, oh, I'm gonna do something productive. I'm gonna make content today, and then I don't because I'm just like, you know what? I'll make content in an hour, and then I fart around for 3 and realize 3 hours have passed. Oh, I don't have any more time. Oops, I'll do it tomorrow, and just kind of repeating that process, or getting to the point of like the one story I will tell about where like it was probably like it was definitely like addiction was with World of Warcraft. One of my good buddies and I literally played for like almost 2 weeks straight. And it was back in Cataclysm, and we leveled together from level 1 to 85 in 1 week time, 7 days in real life. If we typed in /played, it was over 5 days of playing time.
Wow.
Which left, I guess if you do the math, for like 7 days, it was like 3 to 4 hours of downtime a day, not actually behind the keyboard. And like that was like including sleeping. Like we like pulled a couple almost full 24-hour things. Like we would go to bed at whack-ass times and wake up like 2 p.m., wake up at 6 p.m. because his parents would have dinner or whatever, and then we just go right back to it. And then the next week, by the end of week 2, we were like heroic geared to ready to go into raids. And like I think we had like 8 days of playing time. So after over 14 days, it was like 8 days of playing time. And it was like by the end of it, I was wearing like his clothes because I didn't leave his house. I was like wearing like his baggy clothes, like wearing these sweatpants. I was like physically ill. And I literally, like, we had this play. He was falling asleep while healing me, or I was the healer, I think. But he was falling asleep. I think he might have been the tank. But regardless, he was falling asleep while playing. And like I was getting mad at him, like actually Max. I'm like, no, and it just got really bad. It was like the South Park episode, basically. And then I remember that like dinner came around, and I was like, dude, and he was like ready to go again tonight, and I was like, no, like I gotta go home. Like I'm physically ill. And then I remember just like getting my ass home and just like taking a shower and just like knocking out for like a long period of time. And I've never had a binge like that since then. So it's like, yeah, it's very real that it can happen. And like, what have I gained from that? You know, like I don't think from that 2-week period I've had any like lasting life skills. Whereas like other games that I played for way less amount of time, I've come away with like skills behind it. So I think that's just proof that there is a difference between losing yourself to the game to no positive end, and then some games you have a positive end that's passive. But I think the most important thing that I think we're going to continuously harp on probably every time we have one of these shows is the active way of doing it. You know, and I think that's continuously what our message is going to be, is that you have to have a way to actively turn something you enjoy doing. Like you don't have to write it out of your life, but do it in a healthy way, do it in a productive way, and actively think to yourself, like, what am I doing to improve myself as a human being?
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Well, I mean, we can add a little bit of levity to it. You did get something positive out of it, which was you're not going to do that again.
I guess. Okay, sure.
That's a good lesson to learn.
And it's a great story. I mean, it's fun. Like me and him still joke about it sometimes, and like, and I think his was like, was it fun doing it? Hell yeah. Would I do it again? Fuck no. And we both feel the same way. Like, yeah, it was like super fun in the moment, and it was like during summer, and like me and him got like bonded and got really close in that way, but like, yeah, physically just like destroyed ourselves for no real gain.
Yeah. And just talking about moving into that sort of being active with your decisions, and choosing to do things because you want something versus choosing to do something because you feel it, is kind of an important distinction. Where when you're playing a video game, you can sit there, and what you'll do is you end up justifying to yourself that I can continue to play because this is what I want to do. Yeah. Like, yes, you want to play because you have developed this habit of achievement in your game, right? Like World of Warcraft is a great example, because you'll continually be getting quests and ways to gain experience, and there's a sound trigger to leveling, right?
Leveling. Yeah, in the flashy lights.
And the flashy lights, and nobody is going to tell you like that this thing is the most amazing thing ever, but everybody remembers, anyone who's played remembers the sound that the game makes when you level up.
Yep.
And that it is a reward that you're being given, and you may not. It's something that I think a lot of people don't realize, that they're falling into this habit, and then when it comes time to decide to stop playing or to continue playing, it's easy to justify, but you don't realize that you're justifying without choice. You're actually just feeling your way into this choice. You're emotionally, your body wants to continue to play, or maybe your brain without you, right? Your subconscious brain, right? And there's someone someday is going to chime in on this video or on videos elsewhere and just be like, no, this isn't actually addiction. This is behavioral habit forming, or
right, but addictions can also be behavioral,
right? I was going to say that we're not going to make that distinction here. Okay. We're going to just say that, like, it's either like the habit forming or addiction forming. We're not going to worry too much about that. We'll leave that to probably not more serious podcasts, but more focused podcasts.
Or just on that. Or just health professionals.
Right, professionals. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to give myself the connotation that I'm not a professional.
Well, we're not a professional. I'm not an addiction professional.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Let's qualify our.
I'm an expert. I've played games for over 10,000 hours in my life. I'm an expert gamer. Okay?
Got it.
I'm not an expert I don't have a PhD in psychology, so
Not yet.
not yet. Who knows? Maybe in 20 years.
Yeah. Get the.
Going back to school just for this podcast to come back and prove everyone wrong.
Yep. Someone's gonna be like, "You don't have a PhD in psychology." Wrong.
Wrong. I'll show you.
All right. That's good. Like, focusing on that action and choosing to do something is so very important, and I think it's critical for as a cornerstone of moving from games as that addictive game to being something that you're achieving. You're achieving something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we'll also come into that sort of realm where it's like, okay, well, what does it really mean to achieve something in a video game? How valuable are these skills ultimately? And maybe we'll just leave that as a question for the reader sort of thing, right?
Food for thought.
You can. It's easy to go into that rabbit hole. Like, what's really important? What's really going to make a difference? And again, we're not going to. I think it's important for us not to go down that rabbit hole, but simply because you can go forever, right? That's something I'll discuss with my toddler, and
Yeah, there you go.
and we'll reach the correct conclusion, which is why not and why. And
That's why 100 times.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time to do that.
But I do want to say that we are going to that it is something that you can choose to do, and it's okay to choose to play video games as a way to further yourself. It's okay, just the same way that it's okay for you to do something like play chess. You could go and play chess and become better at chess and give yourself a goal, and as long as you're not playing mindlessly, it's okay. And you can use that as a way to fulfill yourself in your life, grow in your career, or just mark it down as something that you've done, right? It could be a bucket list sort of thing, and that's all okay. And
you can use it as an escape too. I think we should always preface that, like, just because you watch TV, it's not a sin to watch TV, and like,
right.
I think it's there's a difference between using taking it too far, and so I think that's what we need to actively pay attention to as well.
Yeah,
I actually was inspired from that conversation about maybe a new challenge, because everybody has their own preferences as far as like genre of games they want to play. Personally, I really like action RPG games, like Diablo type of games, as well as like online multiplayer type of games, such as like Smash Bros. Online, or I used to play League of Legends, not anymore. But I think it'd be a great thing if a challenge like play a genre game that you never played before, because that allows you, or that forces you to think in like a different mindset, and like develop a new kind of like a game kind of skill
set.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good point. I like that, because there's games that I just suck at, those type of games that I don't play, like RTS games, terrible at them, or like basically any strategy game or a card game where you have to sit there and like you have 6 cards in front of you, or like 6 moves you can do, and you have to choose the best one. I'm terrible at those. I'm like, I'd rather just have like the snap reactions, because I can react to stuff really good, and like even if I make a shitty choice first, then I can make a better one later and adapt to it. So yeah, I think that actually is a really good point.
Yeah, because I think a lot of life is like constantly learning, but then if you're keep doing what you're already used to constantly, then it's harder to like better yourself. But if you force yourself to be in a situation where you have to learn like a new mechanic, then it might be more helpful.
I like it.
Okay, yeah, well, let's mark it
write
down.
that down as a suggestion.
We can write it down here. Oh man, that's gonna make great noise.
Wonk, wonk.
I gotta get a shock mount for this. I'm gonna get it someday.
Wonk. That's the noise I think it made. I have no idea though.
Genre skipping or something. I don't know.
Like for me, like I was always like interested in like racing games, but like I never got into them. I never really played like a full game either.
Yeah.
But like that can like directly, depending on what kind of racing game you play, but like that can actually teach you to be a better driver if you decided to go like real like racing career,
or just teach you more about cars.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the car like simulations like nowadays, you can get really granular with like the amount of like modification you can do with the car too.
Yeah.
So it might be just like a good tool to get used to like what makes a car a car.
Yeah, that's actually funny. That's pretty. I'm so bad with cars in general and like mechanic stuff that would probably help me out too. Just understand like what the hell they're talking about. When a mechanic says like this part's broken, this part's not working, I'd be like, okay. Now,
Or
now I
even
know
like
what that is.
those like simulator games, like Farming Simulator or like Euro Truck Simulator. We make fun of those kind of games, but then it might be a good like thing to just try out and finish the game,
Yeah.
just to like understand like because they to some extent probably emulate what real people
And now
do.
you have empathy for a
Yeah,
farmer.
yeah, exactly. Like for example, like one of my friends was he told me that he started playing Euro Truck Simulator.
Yeah.
And then he actually had to look up a YouTube video on like how to back up an 18 wheeler because it was actually like accurate on like how the truck moves.
Wow.
So
funny.
yeah, and you can learn
yeah,
something from
that's
that.
true. Actually, that's a good point. See,
Okay.
video games are so good. All these things.
We will need to have a conversation about learning skills that you will know that you will never use. But learning skills that you will never use is actually still very valuable, which is why we will spend some time talking about it on another show. Yeah, I think that the last topic that I think that we have for this particular or that we have time left for is going to be just talking about the distinction between practice and play, and kind of just coming back to that whole making a decision, choosing to do something. And one of the things that you will have to choose, if you're not choosing to do something where you're being deliberately changing genres of games, and you want to avoid falling into the trap that Sungsup is talking about, where you're playing the same thing and doing the same
plateauing.
thing over and over, right? So there is a distinction there between practice and play, where play is you are going in without purpose, and it's a very creative time for a lot of people, and play is super valuable. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't be playing. Simply that there's a distinction, and you need to know that sometimes you need to be going in to play, and sometimes you need to be going in to practice. And maybe we actually don't have time for that because we only have like maybe 6 minutes. So maybe we'll talk about it next time. But one thing that I will show you is that we'll go through the quick clip today of we'll go through two quick clips. Me playing Dead Cells. I'll probably show them on stream a little bit later. But basically, last week we talked about how I had plateaued. I'd gotten stuck for the last 3 days of my play, so about 24 hours of Dead Cells on BC1, or the first boss difficulty, and I finally got past it. And the reason why that happened was specifically because I came in, and what I did is over the weekend I practiced instead of played. Right, I went over. I watched my Twitch videos of me playing, and I watched my fights and really tried to understand where I was making my mistakes and how to fix it. And then I practiced by watching the boss and trying to change my habits so I wouldn't instinctively dodge at bad times, or position myself a bit better, or not be surprised by the kinds of attacks that he would do, and the result was good. And so we'll take a quick look at that. But otherwise, everything was pretty great. And yeah, practice versus play. Yeah, I think we'll have to bring that up next week.
For sure.
Anything else before we go and we answer questions in chat, which are easy to answer, I think, so far. But we can go through chat after that.
I think I'm good.
Sup? You got anything?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Q&A time.
Q&A. Yeah. So, I guess our first question was, are you guys retro game fans? And I know that Java is gone, but are you guys retro game fans? For me, absolutely love retro games.
In the sense that like retro game, maybe not like in the more traditional sense of retro games, but I like older type of like games. For example, like right now, all the rage is like FPS. Like Battle Royale, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I really enjoy like Metroidvania type of games. Like it doesn't have to be like retro in the sense that like it was made that long time ago. But then like even if it's like recent, I still enjoy like 2D games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think dude, Metroidvanias are, oh my gosh, that's deep in my soul. Metroidvanias are like, so it's funny that you brought that up, because I was actually going to be like, yeah, I'm like one of my top 5 games of all time, if not like the #1 spot, is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And like, just the game design on that game is phenomenal. And my 2019 game of the year so far is Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night, which is basically the spiritual successor, which is
Have you
also
played it?
yeah,
Oh man, I'm
100%. Oh my god, dude, it's phenomenal. Like, especially because I'm like a Symphony of the Night fanboy. Like,
Okay.
down to like the voice actor. I like love the voice actor for Alucard, and like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but they basically bring back the voice actor in the best way possible in this game as like a spiritual like
Cool.
successor and tribute, and it's just like here like in his voice is very recognizable. And so like as soon as and they brought him in as like a mystery character during like the whole Kickstarter thing. And so like when I was playing through the game, like when's he gonna come in? Then immediately I knew, and I was like, yes, it's him. Yes, it's the perfect way to do this. And I was just like freaking out. So yeah, it's if you're a fan of Symphony of the Night at all, Ritual of the Night is just blows me away. So yeah, retro games are huge for me. I mean, I'm only in my 20s, but most of the games that I've literally been playing since I was born, and my oldest brother's 18 years older than me, in his 40s, and he would like I'd be playing like literally Diablo when I was 5 years old, and like he would show me his whole game collection. And so retro games is basically like where I started too, which is weird. It's like I also am a fan of 80s music. Like for some reason I like had like the 80s culture was my childhood, even though I was a kid of the 90s, just because I had older brothers that would show me everything. So yeah, it's huge for me.
Wow. Yeah. Oh man, super excited to play Bloodstained. Definitely gonna get it. That's definitely on my list. Yeah,
Phenomenal.
I don't know where I stand on the whole like, is this game actually retro, and what what's the qualifying?
Yeah.
How does the game qualify as retro now? Like,
At this point, like I almost feel like whatever makes you feel nostalgic
Yeah.
to some degree, and like maybe like being like 8-bit or something.
Yeah, 8 or 16 bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point, but between like real retro and like retro style, because I feel like it's such a style nowadays. Like even
That's
like
true.
Streets of Rogue,
oh yeah,
like it's retro style because of the art style.
Yeah, even like Octopath Traveler, like that's like a
Yeah,
very new
yeah,
game, but
exactly.
it's considered
Or the
like retro
Messenger,
style.
like the
Mhm.
Messenger. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. It's like now it's just a art, not just a style.
Mhm.
But
Streets of Rogue is on sale right now through Humble Bundle. I'm thinking about picking it up. I love that game.
picking that, you don't have it. You talk about it all the time.
I have it on Jack has it. Jack owns
Oh,
it, and so I
okay.
play on his Switch.
Okay.
But I want to play on Steam because
Yeah, I
I
have it
think
on
it's
Steam.
I think it'd be something
You
that'd
need
be
to
a
play
lot of fun.
multiplayer on Steam.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
That game is really cool.
I love that game. It's too funny.
It is funny.
All right, let's see. Next questions. What are you going to do on the stream? We're going to talk for a long time. What's discipline? That's a good question. We don't have time for that one.
Didn't we
Dude,
cover that before in a sense?
Yeah, probably. I think we
I think
did.
we might have covered that in a previous episode.
I'm sure you can do like a summary, like 2-3 sentence summary, like what discipline is, like very high level.
2 to 3 sentences. What is discipline? Discipline is the action. Yeah, making a choice to do
Sticking
something,
to it.
and it's choosing to do something and doing it, and it's critically distinguished from motivation, where motivation is you're doing something because you want to do it. Discipline is doing something because it's something that you've chosen to do, and doing it at generally time boxed to some time. So you'll say like, I want to do chores for the next 15 minutes, or I'm going to start my chores at 1 and go for 15 minutes. All very important pieces and tied together.
So like in a sense you can say like being self-accountable for your own choices.
Yeah, I would say that's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saying you're gonna do something and doing it.
Yeah, I think my dad
Stand
was
out a ton on that.
my dad used to tell me all the time that we have to have integrity for to ourselves, and for the longest time I thought that integrity meant to be disciplined, because the way that he would say it was that you have to we do what we say we're going to do, and in some ways it matches up with the word integrity, but really what he was trying to teach me was to be disciplined, and that was a kind of an interesting backstory there. But all right, how's the bubble tea? The bubble tea was fantastic. Everybody's got their
Everyone's
got
is
theirs,
done
yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And I think that's it.
I had a lot of boba in it.
Mhm.
Let me finish that off. Stop being unacceptable.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like half boba, which was good because I like it. But it was also difficult because every time I'd like drink when we were talking, it was like I just have like 6 in my mouth, and I'd be like, no, I have to like get through these. So, but it was very good.
All right. So for next week, we'll continue talking about more things. I think we're going to go over a lot of things that we can do to be more disciplined, just through our video games, and ways that we can try and help out with things that aren't necessarily video game related. We'll talk a little bit more about Dark Souls, I think, and we've got a good story from
Forever Dark Souls.
Yeah, we
Wrong.
got a good story from you.
I can make an entire podcast show on Dark Souls.
we could
There's
do that.
There's 5 games. No, wait, how many? Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro.
Yeah.
So there's 6 games. Sekiro. That's how they like it, because it apparently means wolf or something. In Japanese. That's how they always say it to the guy there. Sekiro. It's always like this super stereotypical like anime low voice. Anyway, there's 6 games in the series, and I played all of them and beat them all.
Good.
So I have much to speak about.
Well, we can pivot. We can still pivot. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, we're only on episode 2.
We're on episode 2. Third
Maybe a
recorded
challenge for
episode,
you.
episode 2.
Maybe it could be like since you like Dark Souls games so much.
Yeah.
I don't know, like if you played all the Dark Souls type games
Most of them.
to date. What about what's that anime one that came on like recently?
Oh, Code Vein?
Yeah, Code Vein.
I have not played that one, but I should.
Maybe you can do like a either like an article or like a YouTube video about like the differences between like all these like different like Dark Souls inspired games.
That'd be pretty good because I mean, like Lords of the Fallen is one. There's so many nowadays, and yeah.
Because like having that video might be just be good. Like maybe somebody wants to pick up a Dark Souls type game, but they don't know which one to choose now that we have so many options.
Yeah, that's true. Always pick up just Dark Souls 1 is the best one.
Any Souls like the Souls like choice? Like what Souls like are you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Make like a quiz.
Yeah.
We'll turn that into like a Facebook ad or something.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So I guess we'll play our outro now, and then yeah,
If we have an outro.
we can pick music after this. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, it would go into the podcast.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
editing.
I'm gonna edit a little bit into the podcast. So next time we do this though, we'll be able to play the music before the show, so that way I may not have to do too much editing there. But if I edit it, it's also fine because then it'll be preset, or like it's a preset, right? You just do it once and then you just clip it in. So that's
Done.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, we could record an intro as well. We should probably record an intro. We always get sidetracked if we start talking.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, we just need, like, not even record an intro. We just need to have like a script.
Yeah. Well, pro tip here, guys: have a script for your intros and
Outros.
Outros. Yeah, because they run on. Also, don't podcast with your friends because you might chat with them. You're just gonna sit there and talk, and
Yeah.
that's the most interesting thing in the world, I'm sure, for a lot of people. A lot of content there.
We're funny people. I'm sure they love it.
Yeah. You better love it. Who doesn't love this witty banter?
Oh yes. I love it.
I'm having fun. I won't lie. I'm having fun, but that's on whether or not that's valuable to other people. We'll see. Maybe in the future.
I'm on episode 2.
Yeah, we're on episode 2. We can do it.
Whatever
We got time to iterate on this. We're good. All right. We should say thanks some for coming over, dude. It's fun.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy to be on here.
we actually have to. We'll include you more if you come in more often.
Okay.
Because you actually have a lot of good things to say. So
You
it's
do,
fun.
yeah. Very helpful. So
But we'll have you come on. You can be the person who actually comes on online using the interwebs as the medium instead of having
Yeah.
to show up in person.
or like the phone a friend. Just give them a call on the cell phone. What do you think about
Yeah,
this?
what does Sub think? We'll do a whole segment on what does Sub
Well,
think.
first of all,
I think that would be great. Just, Sub, how do you feel about Dark Souls?
don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Well, first of all, that's how it should always start. Well, first of all.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the future.
And remember, keep choosing to.
You can do it. You can do it.
Okay. Keep choosing to be more than the sum of your parts.
All right.